Welcome to the Arn Show. Paul Bromwell back with you again. The Arn Show today is presented by FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the Four Horsemen Network. And as always, joining me, the Hall of Famer, the founder of the Four Horsemen, the creator of the Spine Buster. I'm rocking that Spine Buster sweatshirt, by the way, double A. He's double A. He's Arn Anderson. Arn, how are you this week?
Never get tired of seeing that open.
It doesn't get old, does it?
No, I love it. I love it. I love it. Everything's good. It's warmed up here. I don't know about where you are. 10 degrees yesterday to today.
Okay.
Over what it was. I think we got up to 75 today.
75. We still got about 6-8 inches of snow we can't get rid of on our front yards here in PA.
Yeah, is your house constructed where there's no sunshine or?
No, there's sunshine, buddy. It's just been freezing cold. It's 35, which is the highest it's been here in a while. So it's been in the single digits day in and day out. I feel like I live in Antarctica anymore. I mean, it's, Eskimo living up here in PA.
Oh, shut up.
It was when you're talking cold. 75, I like, wow, what are we doing? That's awesome.
But it's been cold up until today.
Okay.
So, and the way our house is, the sun sets behind us. It never did get the snow melted off until a couple of days ago.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad you're not dealing with it. We still got plenty of it around here. But, man, listen, can I tell you something that is hot? And that is the Four Horsemen Network. Since we had Tully on the show 2 weeks ago, by the way, it's one of the most streamed episodes that we've had in a while. And I don't know if many of you know this or not. We have a live version that goes on right away. We put up another version, a secondary version on the video side of things. Between both of them, 6,000, 6,000 streams already and counting. Great numbers, and even more so on the audio side. Really pleased, really excited, and many of you have commented how excited you are about Tully joining the network. I do want to say, I'll just say it right off the top. Tully is on a cruise, Arn. He's living that horseman lifestyle. Even to this day, he was in Costa Rica. He was in Costa Rica to start the year. He's on a cruise. I think he's going to be going back Easter weekend to Costa Rica, but he is so excited. He texted me so many times a few times after our show, and him and Derek. I talked to Derek last night. When he comes back from the cruise, their first show is going to be live. They want to go live. So stay tuned to the social media channels and make sure you're subscribed to the Four Horsemen Network. And they're going to go live right here, the two of them, soon. And they got plans already for their second episode they want to do. So lots of good cooking there. But I say all that to say we're excited to have him. And as I talk about the Four Horsemen Network, I got to say the Four Horsemen shop. We're seeing some great sales. Arn, we're selling the comic books. They're continuing to fly off the shelf. So don't forget about those. I have one right here. Someone just bought 2 of them. And so for their family. So thank you for those that are doing that. But I've seen Tessa, Tully's daughter, rocking the Four Horsemen sweatshirt a few times and posting pics online. So I want to give a shout out to Tessa for supporting the Four Horsemen shop. Arn, you got to love seeing the merch out there. You had a big selling day for you. You ordered some Four Horsemen jackets for WrestleCon upcoming, and it's exciting to see the merch moving, buddy.
Yep, and we made a little amendment. We cut them down to one thickness instead of it being double-lined, so that it was more friendly to wear year-round. It's like a baseball jacket.
And that's closer to what you wore, right, back in the day?
It's the same thickness as what we wore, so it's as close as you can get. And got some for some lucky folks that'll be showing up at some live events that I'm going to be at, and hope anybody that wants one can get one.
I love it. Well, perfect transition. By the way, we're going to be talking all things September 1996. We'll get into it. I see plenty of comments. Our family. You've returned tonight. I always look this way because that's where my comments always pop up on this side of the screen. But thank you for being here. We're going to get to as many questions as we can tonight. But we're covering all things September 1996. We call it warfare. We got war games going on. But Arn, you mentioned being able to be out on the road and sell some jackets and do some things. And I wanted to mention Your next stop for you and Brock is in Corinth, Mississippi, Saturday, March 7th, EPW Wrestling. It's Fury in the Fifth. And I know you're excited about that event. So talk a little bit about being there with Brock, because you've been kind of relaxing a little bit here lately. This will be your first one here in the last few weeks, huh?
Yeah, and the first one managing Brock for quite a while. So
Nice.
that's my pride and joy. That's where I put all my emphasis these days. And look forward to working for these guys over in Corinth, Mississippi. Sounds like it is fan friendly as it could possibly be.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to check out the website, you're in the Mississippi area, don't miss it. EPWWrestlingMS.com. And also you can find them on Instagram. We were just looking at their Instagram page before we logged in. Search EPW Wrestling. You'll find it. You'll see all the stars who are going to be there. Tommy Dreamer, you, Brock, several others. And so if you're in the area, make sure you grab tickets for that one. It's going to be a great time. And then one I know you're looking forward to, Arn, we've talked about it the last several shows, the Rumble in Rome. I have a graphic for you. I'm going to throw it up on the screen. But this is the homecoming for you, man, where you're going to get to see maybe some people you grew up with that you haven't seen in a long time. You and Aaron and Brock, even Smokey's making the trip, right, for this one.
Smokey's always going to make the trip. If anybody goes, he's going. It's going to be a lot of fun. QT and Billy Gunn and some friends of mine that are going to be there and putting this thing together. It's going to be for my town, my hometown of Rome, Georgia. It's a homecoming. We haven't been there in a long, long, long time. And I will be seeing Bob Moss and some of my friends. Tony Zane, the Hurricane Zane will be there in an unofficial capacity. And Bob will be there. And God knows who's going to show up. I can't wait.
Man, I'm so excited for you, Arn. It's Saturday, March 21st, the Forum River Center. Important note, if you're listening audio only, you can buy tickets, ifwlive.com. So check it out. Make the trip. Check it out in Rome. I heard, Tony Schiavone's going to be there, right? So I heard from his daughter, Lori, she's going to make the trip over to Rome. So you never know who's going to pop up at this thing. It seems like the event to be at here in spring.
It's turning into being a monster.
I think it's going to be a lot of fun. She asked me if I was going to go, and I just told her it was not. That's the problem. The only challenge is it's a little further out from the airport, because I was looking at two different airports to see if I could make it happen and be there. But it's a little bit of an issue. But man, I tell you what, if you can make it, go be a part of it. Plus, there's some other events, Arn, that I know I want to get out to and be a part with you this year. There's already someone in the chat, good old Darth Payne. He can't wait to see him Beckley, because I know that date's already out.
Yeah, I saw that. I love that Beckley show. It's
I know
put on by true wrestling fans, attended by true wrestling fans. It's good host of talent on the actual card. So look forward to that one. We've done a couple of years of it, and we really look forward to going back.
Yeah, Barry Windham's going to be there as well. So that's exciting to have a reunion with him. So there you go, Darth. You're going to be able to check that out. Let's continue on, because I do want to get into the show and answer some of your all's questions this week. And that is someone that has helped us for years. He's part of the family, Arn, and social media, notes for the show, graphics, you name it. This guy is just a fantastic person, and he's becoming one of the best independent wrestlers on the circuit. And that's none other than our buddy, Marcus D'Angelo. And Arn, I don't know if you saw it or not, he was on Monday Night Raw on February the 2nd as part of the security. You can see him on the left there behind the two gentlemen on the front row. He was Adam Pearce's security on Monday Night Raw. How cool is that to see Marcus?
We all started somewhere, including Marcus, as just a fan growing up. Those of us that saw that as our calling in the world, got a break, and some of us didn't. Marcus is one of those guys that has been a rock bottom fan all the way up to right there he is on Raw.
My goodness.
You gotta love it. And his wrestling skills are getting better all the time. So you may see him sooner than later on one of these shows in a wrestler capacity.
I can't wait. I mean, his mic skills are fantastic. You just watch his promos. Listen, he's got so much practice from doing the podcast. Great talker. And so when you mirror that up with those wrestling skills, catching up with it, you see him on Monday Night Raw. Can't be happier for a guy like that. And I want to put him over a little bit more because he's going to be a part of IWC's Reloaded 12.0. So that's February 21st, which is like a Royal Rumble. Okay. And it's rumored that there are going to be some big surprise stars there. And guess that's 6:30 Court Time Sports Center, Elizabeth, Pennsylvania. So if you're anywhere near Elizabeth, check it out and go see Marcus. He would love to hear, hey, big fan of the Arn Show, the work you do. Want to be here to support you. Support Marcus, man. He's such a great guy, and it's so awesome to see this talented individual, what he's been able to do, and to see him on Raw. So cool.
Bingo.
All right. Well, listen, we have a lot of comments, and I'm going to get into some questions. I don't see any super chats yet, but it's like you've said it so many times. We're here for the folks that are here with us, the family sitting around the virtual living room. I have plenty of notes to talk about here and talk about September, but I want to get into some of the folks that are here. Ryan Nodal, it's great to see you. He wants to point out that today is the death anniversary of Curt Henning, Arn. Any personal memories of Curt and maybe what you remembered about hearing his passing? Anything that you want to mention about? You've talked about him, how much respect for him and how he could have, being a horseman, etc. Talk about Curt Henning a little bit.
I don't think you can accurately do him justice as far as his talent wrestling, bell to bell. He was just that good and just that different than everybody else. And it's something that you knew when you were seeing it, that it was something different, but it's not until years later you have a lot to compare it to and you go, he really was different and unique and funny. I don't know if it's out there, what a sense of humor he had. Hilarious. And I can hear that laugh of his, sometimes laughing at his own stuff, which is fine.
Yeah.
But he was just a special individual, and sure all the fans out there that ever saw him perform miss him. I'm certain his family misses him. And on this anniversary, I'd just like to say, God bless you, and we're thinking about you.
Ryan had a fun comment. He said, a podcast with Curt would have been amazing. It would have been called The Perfect Pod. I love that. And we've gotten to hear so many stories because of podcasts now about him and ribbing and how much respect guys like you had with working on him. So his legacy will continue to live on through guys just like yourself, Arn. So it's super cool. Thank you for sharing that. Let's see who else is here. We have Rob Hissam. He's always here. And love to see you here. Ducati Guy 2000. Darren Staley says it's 70 degrees in Wilkes County, North Carolina. I'm glad you're loving that nice weather there. Darth Payne wants to know, where's the Stan Lane dance-off in the intro? I don't think we're going to put you and Stan Lane's dance-off in the intro anytime soon. You don't want that.
I don't think that was even a real thing. I don't know what somebody saw.
It was a quick thing. You did a little, I mean, it was on Instagram. I remember. I thought I showed it to you.
Is the picture shooting from behind?
It is. It's kind of you from from a side view. It's like a fan cam or something, but they snagged it. They got you.
So if you didn't know what you're looking for, you never saw it, right?
Oh man, I love it. Darth Payne says, I'm needing the newest merch in Beckley, so bring your merch along. He's ready. He's ready to buy some merch and get a pic with you and Barry Windham.
I'll have something there, I'm sure, that you've never seen.
Listen, Tom wants to know, Tom H1593, when Arn and Tully went to the WWF, did they move up north or did they keep their homes in Charlotte?
Kept their place in Charlotte.
There you go.
There's no way I would have moved up north. I'm a Southern boy, through and through, all the way. No disrespect to Northerners. I've spent every waking moment of my life in the Southeast, and it's not broke, so we ain't going to fix it.
There you go. Well, guys, listen, guys and gals, we appreciate you all being here this evening. Throw your questions in. If you have a super chat, throw those in as well. We'll make sure we get to it. But we're here to talk about all things September 1996. And Arn, last month, we didn't get a chance to talk about it too much. But your old friend and mentor, he made the comic book, Ted DiBiase, arrives in WCW. He had an iconic run as a top heel in WWF, the $1 Million Man, but he's now sitting in the crowd in August. He throws up the four fingers in the Four Horsemen style gesture, leading fans to speculate, is he going to be joining the Horsemen in some capacity? But instead, it's revealed he's going to be putting up the four to indicate that he's officially a fourth member of the NWO. So, question for you. Any memories of your buddy Ted DiBiase's arrival in WCW here in 1996?
Well, you always want a guy like Ted DiBiase on your roster. He just brings so much star power and his ability to talk and ability to work. And this was a nice swerve, I thought, because at that time, that's all it could have meant. He was going to be a Horseman. Not so. So that was some clever booking.
It was. What are your thoughts? Got to ask. We don't love to do the what if here. Do you think he could have been a fun addition, like J.J. Dillon style, with the Horsemen at that time?
Full-blown manager you're talking about?
Yeah. He was the benefactor of the NWO. It was later revealed here. He'd be the benefactor. But, using that same kind of panache, if you will, to be the J.J. Dillon manager style for the Horsemen.
I don't think anybody could have followed JJ, to be honest with you. He was so perfect. Everything right up to the Hully Gully. I mean, he was an entertainer, and he did what he could do without getting killed, He was, JJ was special. He always will be to me.
Rob Hissam said Ted could have been the $1 Million Horseman. I do want to stop here and talk to you about something, because I'm so thankful for the Ba81 bringing this up. He said, I'm late. I'm at work. I miss you guys, but I want to send up some prayers for Uncle Fred. Typhoon has been in the hospital for a ruptured gallbladder. Arn, I didn't know if you knew that or not, but he's going through some real health problems. Yeah.
So what happens if you have a ruptured gallbladder? What do they have to do?
Well,
can they repair it, or they have to take it out? Or
gallbladder is one of those things we can all live without. I don't have one. I've had mine removed years ago. I'm assuming that it's going to be removed again. I'm no medical doctor, but I'm sure that's got to be part of the treatment. I just don't know once it's ruptured, what they do in terms of taking time. Do they have to, treat it for infection, whatever the case may be, until they can operate? But yeah, lots of prayers up for the Shockmaster, as Rob Hissam says here. But Fred Ottman dealing with some serious health issues.
Well, from us too, God bless you. He's a strong man. I hope they figure out what to do to patch him up and get him back out there. 100%.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing too, right? We talk about a lot of folks from this era and a lot of people that you love to work with. These are guys though that you still see making appearances, and you get to shake their hands and say hi. And sometimes, Arn, you're like, who knows what they could be dealing with, or even you could be dealing with within a few weeks of just seeing these guys and gals. So it's just one of those things to, we all have to be thinking of each other and hoping for the best. And especially, with health, you just never take anything for granted when it comes to that.
Well, and just, it's something to keep in the back of your head. Time betrays all of us.
It does.
The older you get, the more it betrays you. So never take anything from granted.
Valid point. We'll go to we have a question here as we continue. We'll continue to break down September. We got a couple super chats, so we'll throw those up. Reggie the Tree says, Arn, how would you rank the following wrestlers' work ability? Buzz Sawyer, Matt Bourne, Manny Fernandez. And he says, and who was better? Just curious. But what do you think those three guys working ability-wise, Buzz, Matt, and Manny?
God, they're almost, and I hate to take this way out, but they're almost very similar. Matt Bourne was my partner for a short time. Great worker. Buzz Sawyer, same thing. Manny Fernandez came in. He was my first angle with Jim Crockett Promotions. My very first TV, I broke a guy's arm, and down came Manny and thought made the save. and I left him laying too. So that was a launching pad for me in that company and in the business, and gave me an edge right off the bat. Being an Anderson and leaving Manny Fernandez laying was pretty good first TV.
Nah, for sure. We have one. We'll do another super chat here, and then we'll get in to continue on with WCW 96. It's from Awesome Sauce. It says in 1985, if there was a War Games match between the WWF and NWA, who would you want as your teammates from Jim Crockett, and who from the WWF would you want to face?
Oh, that's a lot. It's a lot. That's a lot you got going on there. Let's see.
1985. So you got you got to pick from like the best of WWF. So all stars like Hogan. I'm thinking WWF. My mind's going 85 right to WrestleMania. Like who were some of the bigger baby faces, or it doesn't matter. Who were their best wrestlers?
Well, let's go WWF.
Okay.
We need two guys to fill up with Tully and I, right?
Yeah. So
how about Demolition?
So 85, the tag champs, I believe the match was Demolition wasn't there yet. In 85, you had Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo, the U.S. Express, against Nikolai Volkov and the Iron Sheik for the tag titles. Again, I'm going right to WrestleMania. So those were two top teams. Or you could say, give me the four best. Well, who were the four in the main event at WrestleMania? You could go Hogan, Piper, Paul Orndorff. I don't want Mr. T. I mean, he's not a wrestler, but those are top three guys. Maybe Big John Studd or Andre.
How about Barry Windham and just because I know it's going back and that's kind of rehashing. So Barry hadn't been a Horseman yet, though, had he?
No.
So that's still a choice, right?
He's a WWF guy at this point, 85.
And Orndorff.
So you got Windham, Orndorff, Hogan.
How many do we need?
And Piper. You want to do Piper?
Yeah, how do you not? How do you not have Piper on your team?
Piper, Orndorff, Hogan, and Windham. Okay, and then is it the original Horseman, or do you bring Dusty in outside of somebody go, or how do you do that? It's the best from JCP.
I wonder how it would be if you had all original Horsemen and Dusty.
Well, that's five. So then you need a fifth WWF person, which I'm game. I love it. Dusty, the original Horseman, and then go Hogan, Orndorff, Piper, Barry Windham, Savage. Was he there in 80? Did he help me? Was he there in 85 yet? He might have been.
No.
Was he in WWF? No. Okay.
He was in WWF. See, why do y'all make this so difficult?
I know, right? We're like focused on September 96. I love it. But Hillbilly Jim, Awesome Sauce says.
Probably not.
Bundy? King Kong Bundy? No.
How about this? How about Andre the Giant?
Andre the Giant, baby. There you go. Randy did arrive in WWF in 85. Tom is right there. He's all over it. Rob Hissam, no, we're not putting Pistol Pez Watley in for we love them, but we're not putting them in for the top five. There you go. Okay, Andre the Giant, though. We're still going Andre over Savage, even though we learned Savage was there 85. Okay. All right, there we go. That's Arn's pick. This is the Arn show. I like it. All right, let's go back to 1996. Thanks. That was a fun little rabbit hole we went down there. So September 2nd, 96. It's the episode of Nitro in Chattanooga. Arn, it's yourself, Flair, Steve Mongo McMichael, and Chris Benoit. You guys defeat the Dungeon of Doom, but you have Hall, Nash, and Hogan. They run down, beat up all 8 WCW members involved in that one. And the Giant will then make his way to the ring, and the audience thinks he's coming down to help out. And that just doesn't happen. He joins the NWO. Savage tries to run down and help. He gets the crap beat out of him too. And Meltzer, I don't feel like I've mentioned a lot in this show, but he's critical of the entire angle in the Observer. States that it made the NWO look great, but when 4 men can beat up 9 on the WCW side, it doesn't exactly make the Horsemen, the Dungeon of Doom, or Savage look very competent. Allegedly, Flair and Mongo were both vocal about their dissatisfaction after the angle as well. So, Arn, what say you? What do you make of Meltzer's statement here? Do you agree that it made the WCW side look weak, or do you think this was good heat heading into the War Games?
Being a realist, I agree with Meltzer. There's pushing guys, and they're shoving a guy, and they're shoving him too hard and shoving him down the audience's neck to where they regurgitate it. You got to be very careful on how much is this plausible, believable, credible. It doesn't make any sense, which is one of my pet peeves. If you make it make sense, you can fix anything else. And that, to me, is a little bit strong.
It is for sure, Ryan, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit here about the Giant because he's the fifth member. And now you have they've all been WWF guys at this point. But now, again, he's the fifth member. They've added yet another big man besides Kevin Nash. Ryan Nodal says Eric Bischoff has said that putting Paul White in the NWO was bad casting. What do you think about them adding another big man here and making the Giant the fifth member?
Well, you and I have talked, and I would have liked to have seen the Giant have a much better, longer, more dominant role. So when you finally had to go get the Giant, it was out of necessity. And make him mean as much as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Always said that. He should have had a much more mega push than what he had. That's just my opinion. And I love him personally. I love him professionally. And the guy was money. You don't see anybody like that walking around.
Yeah, no, I think you're spot on. As we've done this together and talked through it, and you don't see many 7'4" guys that can do what he could do. He was throwing drop kicks back then, Arn. He would throw a drop kick at that size.
I'd chew his ass out about that and make him quit.
But it just goes.
He did a drop kick off the top rope in Japan.
My point is his athleticism for that side. It was unheard of.
Well, his history was being a basketball player. Those guys are great athletes.
Yeah.
And he got in the weight room and put on a bunch of weight. Now he's just a monster that started out as a basketball player. That's pretty good combination.
Yeah, pretty good athletic background. So then we move on the next week on Nitro. DiBiase's talking to someone we can't see in an NWO limo. They're out in the parking lot. The voice coming from the limo sounds like the voice of Sting. Lex Luger comes out to confront Ted, and WCW fans' fear will be realized when the Stinger, that's right, emerges from the limo to attack his old pal Lex Luger. The announcers put the angle over like it's really Sting, but the icon is looking a little different here, Arn. And it's soon revealed that the guy under the face paint is none other than Jeff Farmer playing the imposter Sting. And this is the go-home Nitro before Fall Brawl. And as we discussed last month, Sting has been announced as partnering with the Horsemen and Luger, you and Flair, at the pay-per-view. So now the whole thing's in question. Talk about building some intrigue. Arn, what did you think of the arrival of an NWO Sting and now how it's put a little bit of uncertainty with the main event here at Fall Brawl?
Anytime you can trip up the boys and the audience, I think you've accomplished something. And Jeff looked enough like Sting that you didn't know if you just glanced.
Yeah,
that was Sting. So it was well done. It was close enough visually to work. And to me, that in those days, that good booking is how you kept the ball rolling and kept it plausible and believable. And it made the NWO slick and clever and all that. Some people were going, well, they're too cool. Well, it just made you keep watching and gave you an answer to how can smaller numbers overwhelm an entire company.
Mm-hmm. It was interesting. The key with this whole deal is camera angles. He does come down at the War Games, which we're about to talk about, which, by the way, takes place in good old Winston-Salem, where he comes down the aisleway and it captures the face. And at that point, you're like, okay, yeah. And I was watching, because now, since everything's been pulled off all the networks, and you got to try to find, when you're doing research for these shows, try to find recaps because the original pay-per-views are no longer on Peacock. But I was listening to someone just kind of talk about it, and they were spot on, talking about camera angles, how huge this was, but the build, hair, etc. If you did the right angle behind the shoulder, it was tough. Okay, back then, we're talking 96. Now we're so smart, we're such smart marks, we have it all figured out. But back then, when we were kids and teenagers and believing it, it was hard to tell for sure. So this is a fun little deal here. And let's talk about Fall Brawl. It takes place in Winston-Salem. The crowd's very hot for the main event. It's custom. You start things out for the War Games. Arn, we've talked about this before. It wasn't War Games unless Arn Anderson was kicking it off, baby.
Correct.
I will
agree with you.
You are in it, and you're face-to-face with none other than Scott Hall. And he's in the cage with you. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, this would have been the first time that you shared a ring with Scott Hall. I don't know if you can recall a time that you were with him before or not.
I think that's one of the only times.
He's considered one of the best workers of the era and a guy who was over with the audience no matter what company he was in. What did you think of Scott and his ring work?
Well, he was big. It's a lot bigger than you realized until you saw him standing next to some other guy or you walked up on him yourself. I mean, what was he, 6'5"?
Oh, it's maybe 6'6", 6'7". Yeah, he's tall.
He was tall, good physique, physically gifted in a lot of ways. And he had a great mind for the business. So, he was, not to take it away from Lex, but he was pretty much a total package.
Oh, for sure. And he could do it on the mic.
Yeah. And he could give you whatever character he was,
portraying.
Yeah. He could nail it. And he made you believe that guy was that guy.
And I see some, and I got to ask because I'm just curious, but we talk about War Games. We've talked about it before. How much of a match like this are you guys discussing in the back, going out in front of a live audience? It feels like with the added gimmick of a cage, you might want to go over some things just to make sure that, whether it's safety, timing, is this a match where you guys are definitely having some conversation before you go out and perform in?
Well, it's less than what you think because basically until you get everybody in, there can't be a finish anyway. So that eliminates a lot of things that you would do. A false finish doesn't have the panache or that's it that it normally would because you can't have a finish till everybody's in. And that was the fail-safe.
So you guys know we're just going to work on each other. We'll call spots, if maybe double teams, because it feels like sometimes when someone enters the ring, the next member's in, there's usually a double team. There's usually a big move spot, but all that's just being called on the fly.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what makes it so good.
I know. That's what makes you pros, baby.
Yes, that's right. That separates you from the amateurs.
And the next guy through is Kevin Nash, and you're officially outnumbered, my friend. You got Kevin, like Scott, was with WCW for a cup of coffee before making his name in WWF. Did you get to know either Scott or Kevin during his first run in WCW? Remember, Scott was the Diamond Stud, and then you had Kevin as Vinny Vegas Oz. Did you get to really know them before they left?
Kevin more than Scott, just because Kevin Nash just walked around like Brad Armstrong, entertaining the boys in the locker room.
Okay.
Funny, witty. Cool, he was having a good time. He realized he was green. There was never a time I don't think Kevin went to the ring and went, "Hey, I'm the greatest worker in this match." He just had a good time, and you could tell he was a fun guy, funny on top of that. And, he was very, very intimidating. You're talking about tall. What was Kevin, right at 7 feet?
Yeah, but former basketball player again.
Those basketball players turn out to be great wrestlers, don't they?
And listen, you talk about talkers. I mean, the guy has a very successful podcast, Click This, doing his thing, the psychology of wrestling. You don't have to listen to him for too long to realize the guy's student of the game, gets it, whole 9 yards.
Yep, and you got to respect the fact that he got paid, figured out how to get paid, him and Scott, and more power to him.
Where would you, I want to talk a little bit more about Nash here and we'll move on. What did you think of Nash's work compared to some of the other big men of his era? Where would you kind of rank him, or what would you say about his work?
He knew enough to protect his gimmick. And that's really, I mean, if he would have been out there bouncing around, you'd have went, wait a minute.
Yeah.
How is Rey Mysterio knocking Kevin Nash down? Doesn't that take away some of the necessity for the Stings and the Lugers of the world? We need them if a normal guy can bounce him around. So he figured out how to protect his gimmick, and that went a long way.
The next guy in was Lex Luger, followed by Hogan. And then here comes the fake Sting. The announcers put Jeff Farmer over on commentary like he was the real Sting. So they're doing their job. It was obvious that it wasn't Steve Borden. Again, the camera shot in the face right before he got in. But the crowd chanted for the real Sting, and the announcers ignored it. The crowd wasn't. At this point, they knew. Arn, when the crowd isn't buying that the real Sting has turned, do you feel like this whole angle is blowing up on the launch pad?
I wouldn't want to be the guy that was sitting in the driver's seat of that.
Well,
because once they've figured it all out and you're just going on, and tough.
It didn't take long for the crowd to get what they wanted, because next the real Sting comes out. He joins your team. Sting comes in, dominates everyone on the NWO side, and then leaves. And he's ticked off, pissed because nobody trusted him. And after he leaves, NWO takes full control. The fake Sting gets the victory with a scorpion on Lex Luger. So listen, despite the audience not buying the angle, we got where we needed to with this whole thing. But it's revealed that the real Sting was not involved with the NWO. And now his future is uncertain. We obviously know what happens later on. But how did you feel about this whole thing? The audience was excited, so that seems like a good sign. But when you get back to the dressing room, do you feel like, hey, mission accomplished with the story?
I don't know. I don't remember what I was feeling. I know it was a lot.
Yeah.
There was some clever booking. Some people bought it, some didn't. It was pretty creative.
It was, to me, it was less about the match and more about another device for storytelling.
Yeah, and just stringing out the inevitable.
Yeah, yeah. Yep, continuing on with the NWO storyline, the swerve. And the next night on Nitro, Sting comes out, explains his actions. He'll turn his back on the hard camera, and in defiance towards WCW, he'll say that because nobody will trust him, despite everything he's done, Arn, the WCW, they can stick it. And from now on, he considers himself not a part of WCW or the New World Order. He considers himself a free agent. And that doesn't mean you won't see the Stinger. You just won't see him. You just will see him when you least expect it. And those are the last words, Arn. That's it. You don't hear from Sting again. Those are the last words you hear from him until after Starrcade 1997. That's December. We're in September of 96. You don't hear him say words again until after Starrcade 1997. So that's pretty crazy how long they
fell off the planet for what, a year?
Yeah. It transforms him from the brightly colored baby face that we all grew up loving, watching, cheering for. And then he becomes in that darker Crow Sting character that now fans associate with him to this day. What do you think about, and by the way, Scott Hall, often given credit for that Crow character. What do you think of this huge change from a proven character that the fans had grown extremely attached to that Crow transition?
Well, you kind of thought, is that really the end of Sting? Is he going to show up on WWF TV? What's the deal going on here, until he came back in the Crow gimmick. And that was a popular movie of that time, I would think. Right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Well, yep. And it was a good looking, dark character.
It was. I love Brandon Lee in the Crow.
Yeah, it was, again, it was clever booking. To leave a guy off a year, I don't care who you are, they forget about you. The audience moves on. They find somebody else to follow and pull for.
We're going to pause there because I want to go to the comments. I don't want to leave our audience hanging. There's so many people are just giving a lot of feedback. one of the folks just said, let's see here, where was it? Just think about it. You have a match with Hogan, Flair, Scott Hall, Sting, Luger, DiBiase's there. All guys who were over and had draw money. Awesome Saul says this. Man, were these fun times for WCW. So true.
Absolutely.
The talent, this was such an exciting time for WCW. I know we've talked about it probably since May and Scott Hall first comes down, but the growth, the merchandise revenue, the NWO t-shirts are exploding, right? You have pay-per-view buy rates going through the roof. It's got to feel like job security, you know, for days, for years. I mean, everything is just on the right track right now. Never at a time in your career in WCW have you probably had this feeling. Sold out shows, house shows, TV shows, pay-per-views. It's unlike any other time in your career, Arn, this company.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was there for them all because I was the agent at all the house shows. So I got to see it nightly. And it was they were into the storytelling. You know, it wasn't, okay, let's count how many guys are NWO and how many are WCW. It wasn't as important as throwing a good story at them and keep tripping the audience up. You want to have something always in the back of your head that you can pull out, pull the plug on it and let it go.
And that's cool. You were an agent for the house shows, so you got to see a completely different. Not only were you working some of the house shows?
Still working, yeah. I was still wrestling, yeah.
Yeah. So you not only are that, so you get to see it from multiple perspectives. Not only as a worker, but then also help him put the shows together, work with other wrestlers, and build their matches and the audience reaction. What a great time! Shintendo says, was Arn the agent at the house shows I went to in 1996 in Huntsville, Alabama? Most likely you probably were in that time period.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know, there was mostly myself, and Terry Taylor would do a few every now and then just to give me a break. But, you know, in those days,
Terry Taylor, do you remember who you were? Was it just the two of you? Like, who were you working with the most?
As far as another agent?
Yeah.
Sullivan was booking, and, you know, he did some stuff at TV.
Okay.
But as far as the live events, that was usually one agent, and you're looking
one agent for a live event.
Yes.
Do the whole deal.
Yep.
Okay. And it was either you or Terry Taylor.
Okay. And wrestle maybe second or third match from the end. So I could be free for the main event to watch it and critique it, because it was our money. You had to keep an eye on what was going on.
So you are agenting the whole live event, knowing you're going to probably fight third from the last match. So for your match, you're agenting your own match, right? Before you go out, you and whoever your opponents are. I'm assuming, right? Yeah. And you come back and then you put the headphones, headphones back on and do the rest of the show.
No headphones for live events. That's just TV. But I sat there with my nose stuck out of the curtain and watched everything they did.
And would you take notes, or like, what did that look like? Did you have to report back on house shows to anybody? Sorry, this is very interesting to me.
If it was just a conversation, but nothing like the extent that you had to file a report for WWF. That would absolutely kill you. You had to, God almighty, you had to list everything. And there just wasn't time to do it all. And I wasn't really computer savvy.
Sure.
So it made for a tough time in WWF.
Awesome Saul said Arn was going full Stallone in Rocky 3, writing, directing, acting.
You're not, my friend, you're not far off.
Wow. And so in WCW, you just called, hey, everything went great. Matches went well. Guys, gals did their thing. WWF, when you're agenting, you're taking notes and someone's taking that information, but you have to do a full, thorough debrief, for lack of a better word.
I'm doing it on a computer, and let me repeat, I'm not a guy that you could just hand a computer and
you're just pecking with two fingers.
Okay, here's how you get on where you need to be. And that was it. It was tough, you know.
Oh, I get you. It's like Arn went to like Rob Hissom says, no notes. I just give spine busters. Okay, that's what you grew up doing in the business. Now all of a sudden you got a pencil in the back of your ear and you're supposed to be a stenographer of all that. That's just it doesn't feel right.
WCW was a piece of cake.
That's cool.
It was just basically go back, and if there was just in those days, everybody was working hard, giving good matches and good performances. And, if anybody asked the next day, hey, how to go last night? If there was nothing noteworthy, you just went, hey, you had a good show. And that was it.
Love it. Love it. This is good stuff. Somebody just said, I think it was Ducati Guy 2000. I never cease to learn something on this show. So this is a great time. Let's see what else. Oh, Amy Vaughn's here. How did you become an agent? Was he told to do it? Offered less work in the ring to become an agent? What did that look like? Let's ask it. We're here on the topic. I love it. What did that look like for you, Arn?
Ric Flair was the booker, and he gave me the position.
So he was booker, said, Arn, I want you to agent. You know this business? And you just said, sure, whatever you need.
Well, yeah. I mean, Flair was the booker.
Yeah.
And he needed bookers just like a head coach. You surround yourself surrounded by people that you trust and you believe have the same vision as you.
Gotcha.
And that was, at that time, Rick being the booker didn't last too long, and I was still in that position. So you just kind of stuck there.
Okay.
So I just made it the best I could and put the experience that I had to work and tried to help the young guys best I could.
And did they give you more scratch?
No, I fulfilled my the money that I was making my contract until it ran out. And then Eric gave me a 2-year extension, but nothing at the moment I took over the extra job. I didn't get any more money.
That's what I was wondering. Like, hey, you're wearing 2 hats now.
Yeah. Nope. 2 hats, 1 paycheck.
You needed an agent right there. Hey, let me tell you, yeah, you can have Arn do this and do house shows and wrestle and direct and act and all that, but he's going to need a little bit more to the bottom line.
Well, that would have qualified as a holdup.
True.
I wasn't much at holding anybody.
You weren't that guy. You weren't that guy. I know.
I made a commitment when I signed the first contract, and I fulfilled it till it was over.
Love you, brother. That's you're a good man. So let's continue to go. Love the chat. Love all the interaction. People are loving this information, by the way. And so we talked about Sting transforms to Crow later on. And on the same Nitro, when he tells everyone WCW to stick it and leaves, yourself and Flair team up for a victory over Marcus Bagwell and newly arrived, we talked about him last month, Chris Jericho. Chris just had his first pay-per-view match at Fall Brawl against Chris Benoit. But he debuted, as I said, in August, and he has gone on to become a legend in his own right. You'd work with him in a singles match later the same month, and your final match is September 1996. But Arn, when you first met Chris Jericho and had the chance to work with him, what were your first impressions of the young Chris Jericho?
Very charming, I would say. Very respectful. Gun-ho. Offers ideas. Very receptive to other people's ideas. He was chomping at the bit, and all he needed was to be turned loose, and you know the results now.
I mean, and listen, one of the questions I was going to ask you is, did you see the main event potential in him back then? Now, back then, cruiserweight and all this, smaller statue guy, we all saw what him and Eddie and others would go on to do, Rey Mysterio. But did you realize, hey, I don't care how tall, how small, whatever this guy is, he's got, main event potential?
Well, you got to go back and look at Ricky Morton prior to all this. He wasn't a big guy.
There you go.
Anybody doesn't call him top shelf talent. don't know what they're talking about. So I wasn't the guy that, I wasn't a monster myself. I was a normal sized guy for that time in the business. And you didn't have to look at a guy's size to know his talent.
So well said. Love the comparison, because now I think about watching Ricky Morton versus Ric Flair for the NWA championship, back in the Crockett days. And it was fantastic.
Nobody felt shortchanged on those matches, did they?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
There you go.
It was heat, and it was heat for Flair, and powerful babyface love for Ricky Morton, and that's all that mattered.
There you go. Well said.
Yeah. Arn, following this Nitro, you're off to Japan for a short tour. This will be your final time working in Japan as an active wrestler. And you, my friend, are competing in the G1 Climax Special Series. It's 4 shows over the course of 5 days, and you've got some interesting tag team partners while you're there. In one instance, you'll team up with Big Scott Norton against Luger and Rick Steiner. Arn, I don't know that we've discussed Scott much on the show, but what did you think of Scott Norton and you here teaming up with him?
He's like running into a rhinoceros that knows you're coming. It's not a cheap shot. You square off.
Solid. Oh my God.
Thick, big
filing cabinet. Built like a filing cabinet, that guy.
Oh, he's a monster. Solid as solid as anybody I ever been in the ring with. He didn't want you to budge him, you wasn't gonna budge him.
The other interesting pairing you get is Hugh Morris. Bill DeMott, he's considered an excellent worker for his size. He's been a premier trainer for years. What do you have, and what can you share with us about Bill?
Well, you just said it. I mean, the guy does a moonsault off the top, nails it 100% of the time, moves across those ring, hitting the ropes like a guy 50 pounds smaller. Hugh was a good worker. And a funny guy and a good guy. One of the guys I miss.
Oh, man. And then lastly, you were paired with none other than Steven Regal. We know that you got a lot of respect for Regal, his work. He does work a very different style from yours, though, in that he tends to implement a lot of his catch down and wrestling style. What did you think about teaming up with Lord Regal?
Nothing but respect. I love that European style. Those lifters and swapping in and out of holes. And when it's over, you go, how'd that happen? Very, very clever. That European style was slick. And he was a good businessman. He was a great businessman and funny guy, great sense of humor, and double tough.
That's for sure. He's still involved in the business, cares about the talent. You can see every now and then when he shares feedback on social media. Guys, we're about to wrap up the show, so I'd tell you, if you have some questions for Arn as we go into the close, please throw them in now. But your only singles match during this 5-day run is with Hiroshi Tenzan, who will defeat you in the first round of the U.S. Japan All-Star Tournament. So I got to ask, when you're laying out a match with the Japanese wrestler, what's that experience like? I mean, you're a veteran. Would you say that, you took control of the match? Do you defer to your opponent in this? Working in Japan, what can you tell us about working with him?
He was one of the young guys that they were going to make, already been told to me they were going to make a top guy. So Masa Saito said, Anderson, you have a good match with young boy. We build him very strong. That's all they had to say.
Yeah.
They were paying me. Very strong he was.
For sure, man. Listen, this is it's been fun. We got a lot more to cover. By the way, I forgot to mention it, but FanDuel, make sure you sign up. They are now a sponsor of the Arn Show. I said that at the top of the show, but wanted to mention them again. The Super Bowl's over, Arn. The Seahawks won. I know you were hoping Drake May, North Carolina boy, would get it done, but that wasn't the case. The Seahawks defense looked really good. And so that was a lot of fun. But it's now time for baseball season, and your Atlanta Braves are coming back. Are you excited about the Braves? I saw one of your pitchers might have a little bit of issues already. Did you see that?
Which one?
Oh, you're going to make me look. Now I got to look. But one of my buddies is a massive Braves fan, and he sent me, oh, come on. The guy with the S's. He's got like they're already putting him on the 60-day. What's his name?
Is he a starter?
Yes. Hold on. Now I'm going to look. Can somebody help me in the chat? We'll look up his name, but he might have some calcium issues going on in his arm, and I just saw an update real quick before I jumped on. But anyway,
I'm embarrassed that I don't know that right away, unless it's the one that was the fireball guy.
He was a little hurt last year too, towards the end of the season.
2 years ago, yeah, was when he was really smoking. Mustache.
Oh, come on. I'm going to look it up. It is
Spencer.
Yes. Yes.
Strider.
Yes. Yeah, Strider.
If he's already on we might want to trade him and get something for him.
There it is. Spencer Schwellenbach. Thank you, Classic Mutant.
Oh, Schwellenbach. That's
there it is. Now CG says it's Spencer Strider. So I'm getting two different names. Are they two different players? Because again, I don't know the Braves talent like you guys do.
Strider is different from Schwellenbach.
All right. Well, now you guys got me confused in the chat, so you got to tell me. I'm going to wait. But one of them is not going to start off pitching right away for the Braves. So someone has to let me. This is what I get for trying to inject talk. Here we go.
Yeah, especially when we ain't been following it yet. We're just getting off football. You're making us look bad.
I know, right? Let's get to some questions. It is Schwellenbach. It's Schwellenbach.
Yeah, he has a bright future if he heals up.
There you go. All right. How would you rank your War Games bouts? Arn, we got a super chat from a wrestling historian. How would you rank your televised War Games bouts? Some of your favorite matches you've ever competed in? You enjoy them?
They were the most challenging I've ever been in. When you start, you're there till the end, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And that means it's 30 plus minutes against 5 monsters usually. No way to escape, nowhere to go, nothing to do, but just slug it out. It is not a fun day at the office.
Darren Staley, buddy, we're glad to see you here. No question. I'm working and listening. Just a couple bucks in the tip jar. Thank you all. Darren, thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Darren.
Yes, sir.
You're the man.
You are
one
the
of
man.
them.
That's right. We have many here. Let's see here. Nope, no worries. No apologies needed, CG. It's okay. Strider, yeah, all good. No worries. People want to trade him. Let's see. What else do we have? Do you think, from James Byers Music, the 95-96 Horsemen combo of Benoit and Pillman should have lasted longer? It seemed too brief, but I really love that lineup. You, Rick, Benoit, Pillman, you think it should have lasted longer?
I'd have been very happy with that.
There you go. Talent all around, talented wrestlers.
Yeah, there's no runt in the bunch of that crew.
I want to give a shout out to Ryan. Thank you for that. Pirates are definitely trying to get better this year with some solid hitters. We'll see what happens. The key has always been our young pitchers, but now they finally are trying to get some guys that can hit the baseball. So we'll see. And let's see if there's anybody else. What are both of your thoughts on Belichick? Bill Belichick not making the Hall of Fame? Crazy, Ryan? I don't know. I know the Hall of Fame is up for debate now. Him and his owner didn't make it. So we'll see if they can get that figured out. Don't know what's going on there. Okay, here we go. We got another super chat. Arn, who was the better valet? Gary or Baby Doll? They're very different in their own way, huh?
Completely different. Baby Doll and Tully was a great package. I thought it was a great package. Before, obviously, JJ stepped in. Baby Doll was Tully's manager, and, she did a great job. Sherry was wide open.
Yeah, Ryan said it. She's a legit wrestler, too.
Yes, she is a legit wrestler, wide open. If you needed a off the top rope out to the floor crossbody, she was gun-ho, buddy. And she was athletic, so...
One more comment, and then Arn will start to go to the wrap up here because I know we're at the top of the hour. And that is talk about, I know Brock talked about Tessa and Tully. Sting's son. He has broken into the wrestling business. He came down to his old music. Tony Khan licensed it for I don't know how many plays, But what do you think about Sting's son now jumping into the wrestling business? He's been training for a while, and I think it's pretty exciting. What do you think?
Yep, 100%. Great. Best of luck to him. Wish him nothing but the best. He just will be part of keeping that lineage of the history of wrestling, hopefully, in people's minds, and create a legend of his own mind. But Sting I've always had a lot of time for Sting. I got a lot of respect for him. I'm sure he's raised his son to be very respectful of everything involved in the business. And good luck.
Love it. Well, listen, we are going to be back together, Arn. I didn't get to talk to you about this, but are you all good Tuesday the 24th at 6 o'clock?
You bet.
If your calendar says it's open, then that's what we're going to do. Tuesday, February 24th, 6 p.m. Eastern for our favorite of the month, Ask Arn Almost Anything. And that's where we dedicate the whole hour to all of you and ask all your great questions. Listen, we can't do it without you. This show has become, we have like a family right here in the chat, the virtual living room, sitting with Arn Anderson. What a great privilege that we all have to be able to do this. And Arn's become very familiar with many of your names, the White Hat Club, Rob Hissam and CG and Darth and Ducati Guy, all of you that are here. If I start listing your names, I know I'll miss some. And, we just appreciate all of you, Arn. I know you can't say enough about the support that we get from so many of these folks.
Well, this has been going on for a while now. I mean, we're not just getting started. And without you guys, we're done. So you say how long we stay on the air, and you kind of help guide us on what you want to talk about. And it's as much your show as it is ours.
Shintendo, I'm glad you were here. He said, I just stumbled into this, and I'm so glad I did. We love having you. We won't forget you, Ryan Nodal. He's like, don't forget me. I'm always here. We know you are. And Citizen X3508 and some others knew that we're here. We really appreciate it. Arn, we have a lot of fun doing this. Again, 2 weeks from tonight, Tuesday, February the 24th, 6 p.m. Eastern. Join us. We'll have a great time. And keep an eye out for the big Tully going live announcement right here on the Four Horsemen Network. If you haven't liked, subscribed, turn on notifications. No, Rob, Smokey's not going to do a run-in. Supposedly, his hair's not done right. He needs to go to the groomer.
Needs a bath.
Yeah, he wants a bath, and he wants to be groomed before he makes his next appearance. Is that the deal?
That's correct.
Yeah, that's what I heard. So once he gets all cleaned up, he will then reappear on the show. I've already been instructed. I love it. And Smokey will be back at some point. We love you guys. It's been your pleasure. On behalf of AA Arn Anderson, this is Paul Bromwell, and we'll see you right back here in 2 weeks on Arn.